Happy and grateful to I'm really grateful and happy to introduce His Grace Damodar Sakha Prabhu to all of you today. Prabhu is uh, Prabhu is based in ISKCON Arvade and ISKCON Ichal Karanji, as he just mentioned. And it's been more than a decade that I know Prabhuji, and I'm like really fortunate to get his association. So Prabhuji, he joined in like 20 years, even 20 years before, in 2003, when he first time heard Bhagavad Katha of Loknath Swami Maharaj. It really inspired him, and he decided that he will dedicate his life to mission of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON. And since then, by order of Maharaj only, he came to Arvade and served there as head pujari and preacher and senior brahmachari, and he never looked back. Since these many years, Prabhuji is serving devotee community in so many ways, especially when uh, especially few things that I've observed about him is like he's exceptionally strong in his sadhana, uh, and exceptionally strong in his brahmacharya vrata. He's very deep rooted in study of shastras. uh, in our discussion few times, I came to know that he have read like all the Prabhupada books multiple times, including Prabhupada's letters, Prabhupada's conversations. He have, and apart from Prabhupada's books, he's like avid reader of all the senior Prabhupada disciples literature as well, like Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Radhanath Swami Maharaj. In my initial days from Prabhuji only, I got to know about all these devotees, and he used to tell us the life stories of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji and all the acharyas and all the senior Prabhupada disciples. So he has inspired many grihasthas and brahmacharis in both in Arvade and in Ichal Karanji. And beautiful temple is manifesting in Ichal Karanji, a big temple as a result of Prabhuji's efforts there. And I mean, he's a is like personification of steadiness throughout the devotional life. He wakes up at 1 or 2 a.m. and like chants so many rounds every day, reads for hours and hours. Everything about him is really inspiring. And that I have seen like for the decade, and even before that he's the same. So it's just many devotees feel very inspired from him, and same with me. So I'm really happy that we are all getting us his association today. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining this Sangha and like and sharing, talking to us today. Hare Krishna.
Should I start? Should I start, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
First, we chant Mangalacharan, and then we start the lecture. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Gunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhe Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. First of all, I would like to thank all the devotees, especially Vamsi Gopal Prabhu, who inviting me here to speak something about Krishna and his glorious devotees. I'm feeling very happy when I speak about Krishna and his devotees. And Prabhuji has given a big introduction about me, very long introduction. It is not necessary. We are all servant of Krishna. This is our real identification. And just Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Gopir Bhartor Pad Kamlyor Das Dasanudas. Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis, we are the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. And this is the pride of the spiritual world. The pride of a devotee is to become the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. Prabhupada said in one lecture that we should become a servant 100 times. The more we become servant, we get more higher designation in the spiritual world. So I heard from Prabhuji that you all devotees are discussing the pastimes of Gajendra, very beautiful pastime uh, from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, in chapter 2, 3, 4. You all know the pastime of Gajendra, that how he is enjoying a family life. There are so many female elephants with him. The Gajendra's children are with him. And just to take bath in the lake near the Trikut mountain. He's entering with all his family members and just enjoying. Even in the Bhagavatam, it says that he takes the water from his trunk and sprayed that water on all his family members. The Prabhupada writes that just a man which is devoid from spiritual knowledge, he is too much attached with the family members. Just like Gajapati, the leader of the elephants, Gajendra, he is too much attached with the family members and doesn't know that in the near future, the big danger come in his life. By the will of the providence, the crocodile came in that lake and grabbed his leg. And this fighting between crocodile and elephant goes for 1000 years. We can't imagine even the demigods seen from the heavenly planets. So during that time, the elephant didn't get any food because he's a creature of the earth and the crocodile the creature of the water. He didn't get any food and he didn't get any enthusiasm to fight. His senses are becoming weak. Due to that, he's feeling that I will not save myself from this danger. Even his 5 family members trying to rescue him. Bhagavatam, it is said that all his family members goes behind him and rescue him, taking out from that lake. But sometimes he take that crocodile out of the lake, sometimes crocodile take him to the lake. So this happens for 1000 years. And during that fighting, uh, he came to the right conclusion that nobody can save me in this material world. This material world is full of dangers. Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. There is danger at every step. So his conclusion is only Supreme Lord can save me. So Prabhupada said, we are also like Gajendra. We are happily roaming in the material life for sense enjoyment. We are doing karma in the material body, and due to this karma, we create another material body. And this material body is full of suffering. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, if a devotee remembers these four things, he can become serious. He can come into the devotional life. So, Prabhupada said, unless and until we didn't engage our gross body, subtle body in the service of the Supreme Lord, we cannot free from the reactions of this material world. The laws of karma, we are all entangled in laws of karma. And what is the laws of karma? Just like there are so many plans, so many desires in the subtle body, we have to fulfill those desires. If those desires are not fulfilled, when at the time of death, the subtle body goes to another gross body along with all these plans. And then another gross body gives shape to these plans so that a living entity can enjoy this material world. So in this way, we are roaming, we are wandering in this material life since time immemorial. And there is one verse in Gajendra Moksha Leela, Canto 8, Chapter 2, text number 30. So I am going to recite this verse and then we read translation and purport. What are the main points Srila Prabhupada given in the purports? Text 30, Tato Gajendrasya Manobalo Jasam Kalena Dirgena Mahana Budvaya Vikrishyamaणस्य जले अवसीदतो विपर्ययो अभूत सकलम जलोकसा. The translation and purport given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: thereafter, because of being pulled into the water and fighting for many long years, the elephant became diminished in his mental, physical, and sensual strength. The crocodile, on the contrary, being an animal of the water, increased in enthusiasm, physical strength, and sensual power. Very interesting. Prabhupada written this purport. In the fighting between the elephant and the crocodile, the difference was that although the elephant was extremely powerful, he was in a foreign place in the water. During 1000 years of fighting, he could not get any food, and under the circumstances, his bodily strength diminished. And because his bodily strength diminished, his mind also became weak and his senses less powerful. The crocodile, however, being an animal of the water, had no difficulties. He was getting food and was therefore getting mental strength and sensual encouragement. Thus, while the elephant became reduced in strength, the crocodile became more and more powerful. Now, from this, we may take the lesson that in our fight with Maya, we should not be in a position in which our strength, enthusiasm, and senses will be unable to fight vigorously. Our Krishna consciousness movement has actually declared war against the illusionary energy in which all the living entities are rotting in a false understanding of civilization. The soldiers in this Krishna consciousness movement must always possess physical strength, enthusiasm, and sensual power. To keep themselves fit, they must therefore place themselves in a normal condition of life. What constitutes a normal condition will not be the same for everyone. And therefore, there are divisions of Varnashrama, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanprastha, and Sannyas. Especially in this age, Kali Yuga, it is advised that no one take sannyas. Ashwamedham gavalambham sannyasam palpatrikam devarena sutotpattim kalau pancha vivarjayet. Brahma Vaivarth Puran. From this, we can understand that in this age, the sannyas ashrama is forbidden because people are not strong. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed us an example in taking sannyas at the age of 24 years. But even Sarabham Bhattacharya advised Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be extremely careful because he had taken sannyas at an early age. For preaching, we give young boys sannyas, but actually it is being experienced that they are not fit for sannyas. There is no harm. However, if one thinks that is unfit for sannyas, if he is very much agitated sexually, he should go to the ashram where sex is allowed, namely the grahast ashram. That one has been found to be very weak in one place does not mean that he should stop fighting the crocodile of Maya. One should take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, as we shall see Gajendra do. And at the same time, one can be a grahastha if he is satisfied with sexual indulgence. There is no need to give up the fight. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore recommended Sthane Stita Shutigatam Tanovan Manobhi. One may stay in whichever ashrama is suitable for him. It is not essential that one takes sannyas. If one is sexually agitated, he can enter the grahast ashram. But one must continue fighting. For one who is not in a transcendental position to take sannyas artificially is not a very great credit. If sannyas is not suitable, one may enter the grahast ashrama and fight Maya with great strength. But one should not give up the fighting and go away. So here, Srila Prabhupada said that we are all in a foreign place, just like Gajendra is in the foreign place. He is a creature of land, but he is taking the place of a water. So we are also in a foreign place because we are part and parcel of Krishna. One time we are staying in Golok Vrindavan, and due to our deep desire, our stubbornness, we say to Krishna that we want to separate with you. So Krishna arranged this material world for us and giving all the facilities, giving all types of sense enjoyment. So when we came here, we forget Krishna because it is not our place. This place is not belongs to us. The predominating deity of this material world is Durga. And Prabhupada said in one lecture, if we didn't take the shelter of Krishna, the trident uh, which is in the hand of Durga shows that Durga will punish us through three tribulations, Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, and Adi Devika. Sometimes misery arise from our mind. Sometimes the misery is given to us by another creature. and sometimes misery given by the demigods. So all these kleshas, tribulations, whoever came into this material world suffered from these three types of tribulations. And on the other hand, we are not feeling safe in this material world. In the seventh canto, ninth chapter, verse number 19, just Prahlad Maharaj offering the prayers to Lord Narsimha Dev. In that prayer, Prahlad Maharaj said, "O Krishna, if you didn't give the protection to the living entity, the mother and father did not protect their child. And if there is best medicine and best doctor there is available in this material world, if Krishna didn't want to save that living entity, so due to the best medicine, best medical facilities, that person dies. And even the drowning man in the ocean cannot be saved by the boat. So in this way, we can see that our position is not safe in this material world. There is one incident, real incident, which happens in Mayapur, in the Ganges River. The boat is going to Mayapur, and so many peoples are sitting in that boat. And at the edge of the boat, there is one couple, husband, wife, and small children is sitting in the mother's lap. And generally, the tendency of the child is to play with something. So, child didn't find anything. He's he's put his hand in the water. He's playing with the water. So the boatman says to that couple that please take out the hand of that child because there are so many crocodiles. Just we are hearing the Gajendra pastime. There is a crocodile. So there are so many crocodiles in the water. They can came up. So mother and father of that child didn't take this instruction very seriously. And suddenly what happened? The crocodile came and grabbed the hand of that child. Now situation is like that. From the one end, the mother and father of that child, they are pulling from the legs and crocodile pulling from the hand. There is tug of war going on between crocodile and the child's mother and father. And after some time, the boat become imbalanced. The boatman said to that couple that there are two options. Either you can jump with your child in the water, or either you can leave your child. If you doing like this, the tug of war, what happens? The boat becomes toppled and everybody goes into that water, and there is a big feast for the crocodile. So ultimately, at the end, the mother and father of that child leave that child, and crocodile grab that child and take into the water and eat them. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion is that we are not safe in this material world. We have to take shelter of Krishna. We have to take shelter of the spiritual master. By chanting, we have to engage our subtle body in the Krishna service. And by menial services, we have to engage our gross body in Krishna services. So unless and until our subtle body don't purify it, does not become purified, what happens? We have to take again birth in this material world. So here Prabhupada said that in the fighting between elephant and crocodile, the difference is that the crocodile is in the right place because he has so much strength. He is a creature of water. And the elephant is not in the safe place. Due to that, the elephant bodily strength, his senses become weak, and his enthusiasm for fight is also becoming weak. So Prabhupada said in the purport if a devotee in the Krishna consciousness movement, his enthusiasm is low, his bodily strength is weak, and if he does not engage his senses in Krishna service, then it will be very difficult for him to fight with Maya, because we are declaring a war against Maya. And in that fighting, sometimes we lose, sometimes we gain profit. But if we take shelter of Krishna, our bodily strength, Prabhupada said, if we take prasadam, only Krishna prasadam, we gain our bodily strength. And if we engage our senses in the Krishna service, the senses does not become weak, it will become powerful. Right now we have a senses contaminated, kadendriya, and there is another word in the Shastra, sadendriya. If the senses engage in the sensual enjoyment, it becomes kadendriya. If senses engage in Krishna service, it becomes sadendriya. And enthusiasm, how we get enthusiasm? By the association with the advanced devotees who are very much enthusiasm, who are very much enthusiastic to 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 give service for Krishna and the spiritual master. So Prabhupada said in one purport that how we remember Krishna. There are so many ways we remember Krishna, but the main reason is that if we meditate on the instructions of the spiritual master, we can remember Krishna very easily. And Prabhupada himself is the best example how he can meditate his spiritual master instructions. Just like we know, he get the first instruction from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in 1921. Just you are very educated person, so go to the West and preach. And Prabhupada trying to execute that instruction personally, taking that instruction very seriously, and it will take a long time for Prabhupada to implement that instruction. Approximately after 45 years, Prabhupada fulfilled the desire of his spiritual master. And I remember one more pastime in 1971 when Prabhupada came with his Western disciples to India, and only Shuttakirti Prabhu and Prabhupada came to Mayapur. And Prabhupada takes Shuttakirti Prabhu with him, goes to his god brother, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Swami Maharaj. And Prabhupada, in front of Shuttakirti Prabhu, telling Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Swami Maharaj, I will give you all the facilities, please come to the West. And even this Shuttakirti, who is my disciple, will taking care of you. At that time, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj refused that proposal. In 1976, when Prabhupada again goes to Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Swami Maharaj, this time Prabhupada goes with Hari Shauri Prabhu. And again Prabhupada telling Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Swami Maharaj that please come to the West. We will give you all the facilities. Even my disciple are ready to serve you. So at that moment, the Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj refused that proposal. After when Prabhupada left this planet, when Hari Shauri Prabhu and Shuttakirti Prabhu met, they know that how much Prabhupada minutely following the instructions, each and every word of his spiritual master. How before Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj left this planet, one of the instructions of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur to Prabhupada is that you should preach. And another instruction given by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur to Srila Prabhupada is that Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj is very good preacher. So in the near future, when you have facilities, please provide all these facilities to him. So Prabhupada remember that instruction. And till the end of his life, Prabhupada trying to convince Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. So this is the seriousness of the disciple. In one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada said, the instructions of the spiritual master is the life and soul for the disciple. If disciple does not follow the instructions of the spiritual master, he is fallen. Just like we cannot separate the life air from the body. If the life air separate from the body become dead. In the same way, if a disciple does not follow the instructions of the spiritual master, the disciple become dead. So Prabhupada is saying in the purport that now the crocodile in a very good position, and elephant is not in a good position, because for elephant it is a foreign place. And Prabhupada also said all the living entities are rotting in the false understanding of civilization. Me and mine, aham mameti. Actually, we are servant of Krishna, but we are uh, trying to take all the facilities of this material world and doing sense gratification, sense enjoyment. So there is one word in the purport of Srila Prabhupada, Hari Medse. Hari Medse means a Lord is planning in so many ways to take out this conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya, from the clutches of birth and death. But living entity is not interesting in going back home, back to Godhead. That's why he's rotten in this material civilization. And what happened? We are creating one solution, one material problem arisen, we take out one material solution. And one material solution when came out, there is so many material problems again arise. Prabhupada giving the example of just like the car, which is very swiftly takes a man from one place to another. But now so many car production is going on, and there are so many traffic jam, road congestion, and there are so many air pollution and fuel shortage. So for one solution, there are so many problems arisen. So better if we take a spiritual solution, then all the material problems are driven away. So a person who identifies himself with the material body, with the material things of this world, he became entangled and forget Krishna. कृष्णा बहिर्मुख जीव भोग वांछा करे निकटस्ते maya tare झपटिया धरे. The moment we forget Krishna, the external energy of the Supreme Lord is standing near to us. And the external energy of the Lord immediately grab us because we forget Krishna. We are the servant of Krishna. So this is the position of this living entity in this material world. And we are so much attached with the body, just like here Gajendra trying to save himself and all his family members also trying to save Gajendra from this problem of birth and death. Deha patte kalatra dishva atma sainyeshva asat tesham pramatto nidhanam pashyannapi na pashyati. Persons devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life. The problem of life is birth, death, old age, and disease. And being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children, and wife, although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see their inevitable destruction. Pashyannapi na pashyati. He sees that so many of my family members has met with death, but he thinks that I will not meet with death. Pashyannapi na pashyati. He is seeing that so many living entities dying, but he thinks that I will not die. So this material world is called the world of death. Prabhupada written in the purport. Shrimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first chapter, text number 4. It is called a Mrityulok, world of death. Every living being, beginning from Brahma, whose duration of life is some thousand of millions of years, down to the germs who live for a few seconds only, is struggling for existence and survival for fittest. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also told Raghunath Das Goswami, this material world is like a ditch. In that ditch, the materialistic people passes stool. And what is that stool? A stool of sense enjoyment. If we take the germs from the stool and separate, and again that germs goes to that stool. Our mind is like that. If we trying to pull that mind and engage in Krishna service, but still that mind goes to the sense enjoyment. Even Brahma has a long duration of life, but he is also afraid from death. But what we can say about a living entity who are staying in this material world for a few years, 100 years, and think that is so much long years, we can make all the things very perfect, but it's not possible. Papa said, you cannot make a toilet a DT place. Prabhupada sometimes compare this material world, a dustbin, and compare this material world with the toilet and where the people are spitting. So this material world is very horrible and everyone has experienced. So here the fallible soldiers, person thinks that I am staying in my family life, my relatives are there, my household paraphernalia is there. At the time of death, they all can save me. But in the Bhagavatam, it is said they are fallible soldiers. They cannot save you from the imminent danger of birth and death. The person who is too much attached with the family members, that attachment leads to misery, and that misery taking him to the another life. So here the Gajendra is also affectionate with the family members. Papa said, family life is not bad if we produce children, Krishna consciousness children, and train them in Krishna consciousness and engage those children in the service of Krishna, then it is perfect family life. Just like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj said that I can produce thousands of children, but I cannot engage them in Krishna service. So I will be remain an ascetic brahmachari. Because there is a big responsibility of the parents, of the spiritual master. The children are dependent on their parents and disciples are dependent on the spiritual master. So the duty of the parents and the duty of the spiritual master to deliver their dependence from the clutches of birth and death. And Prabhupada said in that purport that there are 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. It is not that the normal condition will be the same for everyone. Just like in the end of the purport, Prabhupada said that if someone feels very agitated sexually, he can choose Agrastha ashram. But don't stop fighting. Fighting means engage in Krishna service till the end of the life. And if one does not remain sexually agitated, he can remain in the brahmachari ashram very peacefully. So there are different ashrams according to different gunas. Just like Brahmana, in the mode of goodness, he has knowledge. He can differentiate what is good and what is bad. And Kshatriya, he is in the mode of passion because he governing the kingdom and there are so many things he has to deal with, money, woman. So it is necessary for him to get married. And there are so many pastimes in the Bhagavatam Previously, the kings are called Raj Rishis. They are kings and plus rishis. Rishis means saintly persons. They provide spiritual education to their citizens and also seeing that everyone engaged according to their propensities. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Brahmachari, Grahast, Vanprasth, Sannyas. This is called Varnashram and Deva Varnashram. When all these four Varnas and Ashramas connected with Krishna service, it is called Deva Varnashram. When the four Varnas and Ashramas centered around Krishna service, it is called Deva Varnashram. So here, every person has some particular type of situation. So in the Grahastha ashram also, when the family members are engaged in Krishna service, that house become Vaikuntha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the prime example. He has so many children and he engaged all his children in Krishna service. And he himself is doing the devotional service. When he came in the evening to his home, he sees that there is Krishna Kirtan going on, Krishna Katha is going on. He feels that he's staying not in his home, he's staying in his Vaikuntha. So devotee can create a material atmosphere into a spiritual atmosphere. Because wherever devotee chants Krishna names, chants Krishna Katha, that place becomes totally spiritual. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the very nice example for the Grahasthas. And for the Brahmacharyas, the Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj is the good example. If we follow both, those who are Grahasthas in Krishna consciousness movement, they should see the standard of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Yukta Vairagya, all the things have been engaged in Krishna service. When devotee engaged all the things in Krishna service, he did not become attached. And on the other hand, his senses become purified. And that thing which is engages in Krishna service is also becomes spiritual. So there is no way, there is no question of attachment because nothing belongs to ours. Everything belongs to Krishna. Devotee needs to devotee needs just to convert that consciousness of material into a spiritual consciousness. So in the Kali Yuga, there are there are four things which are prohibited. Here it is proper said, Ashwamedham Gavalambham, the sacrifice of a horse and cows. It is prohibited. And take sannyas in the Kali Yuga is also prohibited. And Devarena Sututpattim, begot child from the husband, from the brother's wife. It is also prohibited. And Kalo Pancha Vivarjayet. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take sannyas at the age of 24, Sarvam Bhattacharya told him that you have taken sannyas at an early age. Be careful. But Prabhupada said, if sannyas is not allowed in Kali Yuga, why Prabhupada has given the sannyas? Just for preaching. Because in the devotional service, when person takes sannyas and engage all the things in Krishna service, there is no loss. And on the other hand, if a person who is very in good qualities, in good occupation, he is performing his duties very nicely, and he did not perform a devotional service, there is no profit. So here, Prabhupada said, for preaching, we give young boys sannyas. But actually, it is being experienced that they are not fit for sannyas. But Prabhupada giving sannyas for preaching. And Prabhupada said there is no harm. If one thinks that he is unfit for sannyas, if he is very much agitated sexually, he should go to the ashram where sex is allowed. It means Grahastha ashram. It gives a license for a limited time because at the age of 50, we have to remain in Grahastha life, and after 50, we have to take Vanprastha life, totally detached. So out of four ashram, one is allowed for begetting children, and three are for renunciation. It means that at for some time we take care of the family members without attachment. It is our responsibility, and also engage them in Krishna consciousness. And at the age of 50, we must take Vanprasth, totally engage in Krishna service. Chaturvanya Maya Sashtam Gun Karma Vibhagasha. Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita that I have made this four varnas and four ashramas. And what is the purpose? That living entity should detach himself from this material world and come come back home, back to Godhead. This is the purpose. And the Prabhupada has created this ISKCON for what purpose? Prabhupada said that everybody should get a chance of hear and chant, and everybody getting a chance of association of devotees, and then take shelter of the spiritual master, being purified, and goes back home, back to Godhead. And Krishna also make this material world for this purpose, to trying to purify us, because we have a mentality of sense enjoyment. Even in the devotional service, some devotees taking credit of sense enjoyment. That credit all belongs to Krishna and the spiritual master, but due to the external energy of Krishna, which is very powerful, some devotees taking sense enjoyment in the devotional service also. So we have to think about that. We should become serious, because human life is for self-realization and God realization. And Prabhupada said, if a person is not become serious, if a person is not on the path of unalloyed devotional service, then Krishna did not purify him. There are two things mentioned: seriousness and unalloyed devotional service. If a devotee takes these two instructions very carefully, then Krishna instructs from inside as a Chaitya Guru, and Krishna instructs from outside through Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To the serious devotee, Krishna gives intelligence so that devotee can come home, back to Godhead. And in the Grahastha ashram, Prabhupada said that Mahaprabhu also recommend that don't leave Grahastha ashram. Wherever you are, stay there. Sthane sthita shutigatam tanovam manobhi. Just hear about Krishna. When you hear about Krishna, and tell others about Krishna. Sthane sthita shutigatam tanovam manobhi. One may stay in whichever ashrama is suitable for him. It is not essential that one takes sannyas, because everyone is not eligible for sannyas. There is kam karma bija, material desire. Totally the material desire does not burn. A person should not take sannyas, because if he takes sannyas, it will create havoc in the society. So kam karma bij, so many kam karma bij we are taking from so many previous birth. So how this kam karma bij is destroyed? By chanting the holy name attentively, by hearing Krishna Katha attentively. And there is also a mananam. We should meditate on the shastric injunctions, the instructions given by the spiritual master. We should meditate on that, trying to endeavor to that process so that I can fulfill my spiritual master's desire. Just like that Brahmana who is sitting outside the Ranganath temple and reading Bhagavad Gita. Every day is reading Bhagavad Gita, and some puffed up Brahmanas trying to joke him. And one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take the darshan of Ranganath and see that Brahmana. The Brahmana is crying. And Mahaprabhu goes to the Brahman and asking that I see the tears coming from your eyes, and which portion of Bhagavad Gita is bring ecstasy in you? That Brahmana told, I am illiterate, but it is my Guru Maharaj's instruction that you should read Bhagavad Gita every day. I am trying to read Bhagavad Gita every day, and the main point is that the Krishna, who is the charioteer, became a driver of the Arjuna's chariot. He's Bhakta Vasala. He's very inclined to the pure devotees. He's become the servant of the pure devotees. When I saw that picture, the tears coming from my eyes, and Mahaprabhu, when listened that, suddenly Mahaprabhu giving embrace to that Brahmana and says that you are the right candidate for reading Bhagavad Gita because you have a bhav, you have a prem. And how this bhav and prem coming in that Brahmana by following the instructions of the spiritual master very seriously. We are not qualified, but if we are trying to fulfill the desires of the spiritual master, our previous acharyas, then Krishna is pleased with us. So here Prabhupada said, wherever you are, just stay there and hear Krishna Katha. And Prabhupada said, one must continue fighting for one who is not in a transcendental position to take sannyas. Artificially is not very great credit. Fighting means always engage in Krishna's service. Fallen means is not like that if one changes the ashram from brahmachari to grahastha. Fallen condition is like that if a devotee leaves the association of another devotees. He does not follow the four regulative principles, then he become fallen. So here it is said that so many grastas, just like the example of Srila Prabhupada disciples, when the Krishna consciousness movement in the early stage, there is example of Sham Sundar Prabhu and Mukunda Prabhu. So these disciples of Prabhupada, when Prabhupada giving instruction to them to go to the London and preach, these grastas totally dedicate their life to the mission of Srila Prabhupada and take the instructions of Srila Prabhupada very seriously. And they goes to the London and preach there, just following the instructions of Guru, spiritual master. In this way, they become perfect. They totally surrender to Guru's instruction. And remember Krishna always. So Prabhupada said that don't stop fighting. Always engage in Krishna's service. If you are sannyasi, if you are brahmachari, if you are grahastha, if you are vanprastha. And Prabhupada said, I have made the very conducive environment, Vaikuntha environment. How? There is no need to go to the forest. Just came to ISKCON center and take shelter there and wholeheartedly serve there. In this way, you can stay in temple and leading the Vanprastha life. Because there is no forest now. A forest become a city. So everyone is in a transcendental position if we engage in Krishna's service. And if we didn't engage in Krishna's service in whatever ashram we are, it is on the material platform. So here the Gajendra trying to save himself, but only conclusion is that he saved by remembering Krishna, because in the previous life is King Indradyumna, and just due to the small mistake, he meditate and some sages came, Angra Rishi came with his disciples, he didn't respect, and sage given him a curse that you become an elephant. But in the previous life, whatever devotional activities he has done, he remembers that. So by Krishna grace, if a devotee is very serious and does not fulfill the path of yoga, and Krishna give him another chance to take a birth in the devotee's family. But Papa said, why should we take birth again? We should finish this business in this lifetime, and goes back home, back to Godhead. So if a person does not become serious, uh, disciple means seriousness. Why we have taken initiation? If we doesn't follow the instructions of spiritual master, we should not take initiation. We should become serious, and there are so many instructions. Some of the instructions are common, some of the instructions are very specific. Common instructions are 4 regulative principles and 16 rounds chanting attentively. Even though we see that we are not following the common instructions attentively, because chanting attentively 16 rounds is not possible. The mind is so flickering, goes from one place to another place like a monkey. And on the other hand, there are specific instructions. The devotees who are very advanced, spiritual master gives them specific instructions. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the specific instructions to Shad Goswamis, build temple, writing literature, establish deity worship. So there are instructions for the disciples to the according to their mentality, according to their guna. So spiritual master knows very well which instruction given to which disciple. And in this way, if a disciple, whether he is in brahmachari ashram, grahast ashram, vanprasth ashram, sannyas ashram, if he taking the instructions of Srila Prabhupada very sincerely, or his previous acharya's instructions very seriously, he cleanses his heart, his subtle mind, his subtle body become purified, his gross body become purified. And at the end of life, he remembers Krishna and goes back home, back to Godhead. So this is our business, because in the Bhagavatam it is said, Durlabham Manusham Janma Dehi Nam Shadbhangura Tatrapi Durlabham Manne Vaikuntha Priya Darshanam. Durlabham Manusham Janma. This human life is very rare. After crossing 84 lakh species of life, we get this human form of body. Dehinam Shadbhangura. It is temporary. At any time, it becomes finished. And Tatrapi Durlabham Manne. In that temporariness, there is one fortune for the living entity. There is one benediction for the living entity. And what is that benediction? Vaikuntha Priya Darshanam, the association of pure devotees. If we take the association of advanced devotee or devotee, we see that who are serious, trying to goes back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime, preparing himself, we should take the association of those devotees. If we didn't take the association of those devotees, then at the time of death, we can remember anything, not Krishna, because subtle body is very important. By following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada or previous Acharya, our subtle body become purified, and gradually our gross body also become purified. And when we leave this body free from subtle and free from gross body, then we goes back home, back to Godhead. So there are ashramas, but in that ashrama, the main point is that we should engage in Krishna service, and we engage others also in Krishna service. So here the crocodile now trying to giving harm to the elephant, but elephant take the shelter of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, by offering flowers at the lotus feet of Krishna. He trying to save his imminent danger, because Krishna is the Param Ashray. Krishna is the supreme shelter for everyone. Nityo Nityanam Chetanash Chetananam. Only Krishna can provide a fearlessness in the heart of a devotee. That's why Krishna's name is Abhay. If a devotee takes the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, he become Abhay. Then whether he is staying in hellish planet, whether he is staying in heavenly planets, the situation is the same for the devotees. They are not considering someone is bad, someone is good, because their mind is totally engaged in Krishna's service. Prabhupada said, we have so many karmas of the previous birth, but if our mind is totally absorbed in Krishna, in one stockpile, in one stroke, our all the karmas of stockpile has been diminished. Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam in Brahma Samhita. When a person takes a shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, doing devotional service, all his karmas has been destroyed. And even the scriptures, it is said that even if one chants Krishna's name only once, is freed from sinful activities, but that name should be the pure name. Pure name. Sakrit. Sakrit means only once. There are three stages: Namaparad, Namabhas, and Shuddhanam. Starting from Namaparad, if he goes to the Shuddhanam, we become liberate. And at the pure name, a devotee doesn't want to liberate. He wants service more and more. न धनम न जनम न सुंदरिम कविताम वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद भक्तिर अहेतुकी त्वयि. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I don't want anything, no followers, no beautiful woman, no wealth. I only want devotional service, unalloyed devotional service, birth after birth. This is the goal of the pure devotee. Even he did not want to take liberation from this material world. And Prabhupada is the best example of that. So Prabhupada has given us a very nice program, chanting, hearing, taking prasadam, and Prabhupada has given us so many books. There are immense knowledge Prabhupada has given us. We should take that opportunity to read the books of Prabhupada and trying to convince others also, because this is the moment of preaching. If we don't preach, we cannot satisfy our previous Acharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should preach and we should take these instructions in our life very seriously and trying to implement these instructions very seriously. Then at the end of the life, we can remember Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Sorry for bearing my language. I'm not so much influenced in English, but trying my best to please all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Damodar Sakha, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your wonderful class. Are you available for some time, Prabhu, to take some questions?
Yes, Prabhu, yes, I'm available. No problem.
So if anybody has any questions, please raise your hands. Or you can unmute and ask the question. So Prabhuji, I'll ask one question and then maybe someone else can follow up. So
yes,
the central theme of your class, Prabhu, which I really liked, was we can remember Krishna easily by meditating on the instructions of the spiritual master. And you gave several examples of how Srila Prabhupada just kept that one instruction in his mind. And even though he did not succeed for 45 years, eventually it manifested. And through that one instruction, he was able to remember Krishna very easily. And even in the example of the South Indian Brahmin, he was just instructed to read the Bhagavad Gita daily. And through that instruction, he was able to remember Krishna more than the other puffed up Brahmins. So I really liked how you repeatedly mentioned this. And even in the example of Srila Prabhupada and Shrutakirti Prabhu meeting Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Swami. And that was also an instruction that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave to Srila Prabhupada. And how Srila Prabhupada never forgot that instruction. Now, from a practical point of view, we see that many devotees who are getting initiated now, they will not probably ever get like a personal instruction from the spiritual master these days, because spiritual masters have many disciples, and even to get the association of one spiritual master can become a little difficult. So in such cases, should we just listen to the Vani, the lectures of the spiritual master, and follow the instructions from there, or should we be eager to get a personal instruction from the spiritual master? What is your opinion, Prabhuji? Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. In that case, Prabhuji, if a devotee or disciple is very advanced, he can directly goes to the spiritual master and ask him, what type of service should I do that pleases you? Okay. And on the other hand, if a disciple is a neophyte, just now initiated, then he can take the instructions from the temple authorities and from his senior god brothers, because the instructions coming from the parampara. Just like you said that one spiritual master has so many disciples, a spiritual master doesn't have any time, so much time, so that he can give to his disciples, so many disciples. So a spiritual master, under him there are temple authorities, senior god brothers. We can take instruction from them also. If we fulfill those instructions, then spiritual master will be pleased. And when spiritual master will be pleased, Srila Prabhupada pleased, and then previous acharyas pleased, we can take that way also. So there is no harm, Prabhuji. Yeah, but one condition is that devotee should be bona fide. The devotee should be initiated in the parampara, that should be bona fide.
Yes, Prabhu, wonderful. And that reminds me, that reminds me of how you started the class also, that the pride of a devotee is to be the servant of the servant of the servant of devotees. So the other question that comes is, so when we take Diksha from somebody, of course, there is this feeling that I should, the faith in following the instructions of the temple authority or your Shiksha gurus becomes a little bit more difficult and challenging, because you almost feel that I must get like a personal instruction from my guru. So, and the faith in following the instructions of Shiksha guru is not as much as the faith in following one's Diksha guru. I've seen this several times. If the Diksha guru is there and everybody's eager, but then once the Diksha guru leaves, then that faith is not as strong. I hope I'm making sense. So how does one develop this real mood of being the servant of the servant of the servant, and to be in a mood of just following our immediate authority or Shiksha gurus or local temple authorities and things like that? Any thoughts on that, Prabhu?
Prabhupada also said that instructing spiritual master and initiating spiritual master, there is no difference. Ultimately, when initiating spiritual master left this planet, there is Shiksha gurus, there's instructing spiritual master. We should develop faith on their instructions also, because there is no difference. We have to give respect equally to the initiating spiritual master and the instructing spiritual master. You are right, Prabhuji, that we have much more faith on the initiating spiritual master. but we have a less faith in instructing spiritual master, Shiksha Guru. But trying develop faith on the instructing spiritual master also, because he's always with you. He guides you. Hmm. Uh, in the devotional path of life, there are some problems, but initiating spiritual master is always not there with you. But if he helps you, and there is someone in our life, there is someone we can trust, we can faith on him. So we should try to develop faith. And how this faith develops? By hearing the lectures of your Shiksha Guru, or Diksha Guru on faith. Association of devotees are required. Favorable devotional service, which is favorable for Krishna consciousness. Devotees come together and chant holy name and discussing the pastimes of Bhagavatam. In this way, we can create a faith. We can develop a faith among the devotees. And especially when your Shiksha Guru is giving the instruction, take that instruction very faithfully, very seriously. In this way, we can develop our faith in instructing spiritual master. Because sometimes instructing spiritual master are with us, we think sometimes ordinary person, but he is not an ordinary. He is Krishna's servant. He is transcendental. By hearing the proper lectures and by hearing the Bhaktivedanta purports, we can understand and meditate on those instructions. In this way, we can develop the faith on the instructing spiritual master also. There is no difference. We should give respect equally to both of them, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Vamshidhar Gopal Prabhu, do you have anything to say? Right.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much for amazing class and reminding us of many vital points in our Krishna conscious life that we have to be aware of and conscious, like how important it is to hear Guru Maharaj and try to follow his instructions, how important it is to hear carefully our Shiksha Gurus, our mentors, and try to follow their instructions, and how important it is to understand these things, like the limited nature of our lives, our actual situation, and how we should try to always progress in Krishna consciousness and try to get out of this material world in the same life, and not like delay it or procrastinate or try to enjoy material world at the same time we are practicing bhakti. These so many wonderful points, Prabhu, really inspiring, and lot of stuff to introspect on. So I had a question around you talk a lot about seriousness. So when we are in close contact with senior devotees or in temple, we are serious, but it's like we work outside, we have so many people that we end up talking to, interacting with, and these small things affect, and the seriousness sometimes it gets weak. One's mind is distracted, some other priorities take over, and without us wanting, I mean, sometimes that spiritual life kind of become wishy-washy. So how one can prevent from that and try to be always serious and strong in our uh, sadhana?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. So that was my question, Prabhu, the second part.
I didn't heard, Prabhuji. Please repeat.
Okay. So, Prabhu, my question was around like the maintaining seriousness in spiritual life. That how we can, like, we stay in material world, we work and go outside, interact with people. So when we are in close contact with devotees, senior devotees, or Guru Maharaj, like we are very enthusiastic to follow everything very seriously. But then over the period of time, it declines, or some other thing takes priority, and spiritual life sometimes becomes secondary or like little weak. So how one can try to maintain seriousness always?
So there is so many words in the Vedic scriptures. Krishna said Satatam, and Bhagavatam also mentioned Nityam. Nityam means always, Satatam means always. And Krishna also said Satatam Kirtiyanto Mam. Every time, always engage in my service. So we should see that our time should not be wasted. Time is Krishna. Whenever we have a free time, we should take the book of Prabhupada and read, even a small book. And whatever you read, please mananam. Mananam means meditate on those words. In this way, it develops our Krishna consciousness, seriousness. Because if we didn't read Srila Prabhupada books scrutinizingly, and Prabhupada himself said that you will not become serious. So I think I see that so many devotees, there are little gap between free time. They will not do any service. Prabhupada said, if you have free time, please chant. If your rounds are completed, then read books. Trying to engage in some services. Don't become a free. So in this way, if we try to read, so many Grastha devotees I saw, they have small books of Srila Prabhupada in their bag, and when they get a free time or spare time or lunch time, they take out that book and read 1 page, 2 page, and whatever they have read, they contemplate on them, just trying to meditate on those words what Prabhupada has said. So it develops seriousness regarding Srila Prabhupada, reading books regarding Krishna consciousness movement. Because what Prabhupada said, every time Prabhupada said in the purport, you are not this body, you are a soul. The human body is meant for self-realization. Again and again, hammering of these sentence will provide seriousness in our life. Nityam, Satatam. We have to engage every time. In this way, we can develop seriousness. Otherwise, time is going, time is passing, the time will not come back. So it's nice to engage that time in Krishna's service by reading or by chanting. You see, the serious devotee, there is one out of the 9 qualities, there are one prominent quality is avyartha kalatvam. A devotee who is very serious, does not waste his time, even 1 minute, continuously doing some services, hearing, chanting. So we have to do that. We have to adjust in that condition. In this way, seriousness will gradually come, will come. And at one point, a devotee will become totally serious. And then he can engage, trying to fulfill the instructions of the spiritual master in a perfect way. And Prabhupada is very serious. It's like it takes so much long years to fulfill the desires of his spiritual master. But he meditate, he contemplate on that instructions. How can we do it? So in this way, develop serious. It will take time, but we have to engage our activities in Krishna consciousness, not waste even a single moment of time.
Thank you, Prabhu. Just to, do you have time for one more question, Prabhuji? So Jagannath Gopal Prabhu is asking one question.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
The last question. So I'm just going to read the question because he's in a bus right now. And then
Okay.
I've been chatting with him also, so I know exactly some more details. So I'll try to explain also what he means. So what is
Yes,
the role of putting faith in versus critically analyzing the words of someone who is not our Diksha Guru? I have seen in the past that certain devotees in the role of mentors have given advice to devotees that have ended up being counterproductive. Is it that the higher up we go in the hierarchy, critical deliberation takes a less prominent role and faith takes a more prominent role? So what essentially he's saying is that the immediate Siksha Gurus or local temple authorities, we tend to critically analyze many times we tend to critically analyze without blindly accepting, but we tend to put more faith in our Diksha Gurus. So what he's asking is it okay to do that? Is it okay to critically analyze our immediate Shiksha Gurus, or should we also just blindly follow the instructions of the Shiksha Guru like they are from the Diksha Guru? I don't know if I'm clear, Prabhuji, but
Yes, Prabhuji, clear. I understand the question.
Uh.
Not blindly, we should see that just like I mentioned that they are bona fide, they are following the four regulative principles properly. If they are doing all these activities nicely, and they have a good character also, if they have show good character, so then we can follow his instructions. So, but we cannot follow the instructions blindly. We should take some time, watch them, and if we see that just like Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari, three types of devotees, and they have different qualities. So in this way, we should take some time. Even a disciple who is going to take the initiation from a spiritual master, they have some time. They should give test to others, means to analyze them, how much qualities he has developed in their life. So disciples should take time to see the spiritual master if he's qualified, and spiritual master will also take a time to see the disciple if he's qualified up to the mark. So in this way, we should take some time. There is no problem in hurry. And then take the decision. Who is my Shiksha Guru and who's my Diksha Guru? And what type of faith should I put in Shiksha Guru? And in what percentage should I faith on the Diksha Guru? We should analyze that, Prabhuji.
Wonderful, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, does that answer your question? Yes, Prabhuji. So he says yes, Prabhuji. So thank you so much, Damodar Sakha Prabhu, for taking the time and being with us and spending so much of your valuable time actually with a small group like this. We're very, very grateful. And thank you, Vamshidhar Gopal Prabhu, for arranging this. Yeah. So Vamshidhar Gopal Prabhu, you want to end it with anything you want to say?
Yes, you already what you said. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for joining us early in the morning, taking time out from your services, and certainly we would like to see you again sometime in future too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much also, all the devotees that given me a chance to glorify Krishna and their devotees. You are all glorified. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyasya pitanam pavane namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.